I'm often asked, what do you eat in a day? Well, today I'll share that with you, at least for one day. However, this particular day was not really a normal day for me. This was a day after coming off a 36-hour fast. I'll give you all the details and my blood sugar levels, and you'll get to see a little bit of what one of my days looks like. I started this particular Tuesday by testing my blood sugar almost immediately upon arising.
It is a Tuesday morning, and it's just a little bit past 5:30. You may wonder, what are you doing up that early? Well, I don't normally get up this early, but in this case, this is our men's Tuesday morning Bible study at our church, and so I will be going to Bible study. It starts at 6, but thankfully it's just a little bit down the road, so I can get there in a few minutes. I have not eaten since Sunday evening, and so it's pretty much a 36-hour fast, maybe not exactly. Don't even remember when I had dinner, but it wouldn't have been very late on Sunday evening. And usually by this point my blood sugar is in pretty good shape, so we're going to see exactly where it stands today or this morning, and then we'll go from there. I do not plan to eat anything until I get back from the Bible study. So, but I kind of like to see where my blood sugar has gone to, and usually the numbers are good enough that I feel kind of good about things after a 36-hour fast. I think the lowest it's ever been after a 36-hour fast that I can remember was 68. In this case, it's not nearly that low. It's 83. So 83 is decent. It's I kind of enjoy being in the 70s sometimes, but it wasn't that way this case. Anyway, I'm not doing too bad, and I can get through the Bible study without any kind of feeling weak. So I will be back, and I will report after I get back.
I made my way back home after our men's Bible study and quickly prepared for myself breakfast part A.
So I am back from Bible study. It is about 7:30, and I'm breaking one of my rules. Now, before you scream at me as a hypocrite, let me explain. This is coming off of a 36-hour fast, and usually when I do that, I break my breakfast into two parts. This is part A, and then I'll have part B in about an hour and a half. Now, why would I do that? Well, the main reason I do that is I don't like to really eat my main breakfast this early, but I need something to give me some strength to do some work. And so now that I'm back, I'm planning to do some exercise. I'm going to do a few things on the computer, check my email, see how my latest Beat Diabetes video is doing. And I've just gone long enough without eating. So I'm going to have these 2 boiled eggs and a cup of tea, and then I'll have my real breakfast in about an hour and a half. So if you want to call me a hypocrite, go ahead. But this is the one time where I do divide my meal into part A and part B. Normally I would never do that. But coming off a 36-hour fast, I will. So 2 boiled eggs, virtually no carbohydrates. I mean, there would be some. I think an egg has like 0.6 of a gram, about half of a gram of carbs to it. So two eggs would be, 1.2 grams. But essentially no carbs involved. Cup of tea, no carbs involved here. So I'm still continuing with no carbs. I haven't had a carb since Sunday night. This will tide me over, and then I'll get to the real breakfast, which will not be huge, but it'll just be another low-carb Part B breakfast. In the Lord of the Rings, the 2 hobbits, Merry and Pippin, they got nervous because they thought Aragorn didn't know about first and second breakfast. And so here's one case where I have first and second breakfast. I'll see you back when I get to Part B of my breakfast here on this lovely Tuesday morning in Texas.
But before breakfast part B, I spent some time on my elliptical trainer.
Well, it is now about 8:25, and I am doing what I do most mornings, and that is exercise on this elliptical trainer. This is not an intense workout. I'm too old to be running wind sprints and so forth. I do the elliptical trainer to just get myself moving. You know, most of my day involves sitting at a computer, sad to say, and that is not a natural lifestyle. For thousands and thousands of recorded history years, people didn't sit in a chair all day long, and now we do. And I get a lot done by sitting at a computer, and these videos that I create for Beat Diabetes, I'm usually sitting when I record them, and then I spend hours sitting and edit them. So you got to make up for all that sitting, right? And you got to move. You got to, as the song says, you got to move it, move it. So that's what I do here. I don't do it hard. I don't do wind sprints, as I said, but I at least get myself moving most mornings. So I'm taking about 25 minutes out of my morning and doing some movement with the elliptical trainer. And then I will be about the rest of my morning. I really do believe in exercise. Now, they say resistance training is probably even better than what this involves, which is more aerobic, but at least it's movement. Now, I have done I've done push-ups in the past, and there was a time years ago when I could do about 70 of them at one shot, but those days are long gone. And I've really backslid on it. I was doing it, and I was up a little bit beyond where I started, but I still wasn't doing that great, and then I backslid altogether, so I haven't done them. I need to get back to that and probably start doing some squats as well, but just haven't been able to do it yet. So I will get back to my elliptical training, and then I'll see you at second breakfast. Oh, and there's one other thing. To make this a little easier to take and keep it from being so boring, I use this tablet, and I can get YouTube videos with it. Actually, if you look carefully, you see me. And a lot of times I will watch my own videos to see how I did. You know, when you're editing and you're throwing it all together, you don't always get to see it all. And a lot of times I'll just watch myself, and sometimes I'll say, hey, that's pretty good. And other times I'll say, that wasn't that great. But anyway, I do the best I can, and that's about all we can do, right? So if you will excuse me, I'll get back to my elliptical training.
Next, I went up to my office to see how my latest Beat Diabetes video was doing and read what people had to say in the comments.
Well, my elliptical training is over, and I am upstairs while Benedict is downstairs making my breakfast part B, which is going to involve bacon and egg and another ingredient, which I'll share when I get to that point. Right now, I'm checking out my latest YouTube video. This being a Tuesday, I like to check and see how it's doing. One thing you may not realize is that YouTube ranks your videos as to how popular they are, how many people click on them, compared to your last 10 videos. So if you get a #1 ranking, it means out of the last 10 videos you made, this is the #1 most popular video. If you get a #10, well, that's a real downer. It means that nobody much likes this, and this is your least popular video. This particular one, which is the strange food promoted by nutritionists, which raises your A1C, is ranking #3 right now after being up for several hours, so that's pretty good. If I see a 1, 2, or a 3, I'm fairly satisfied. And not only do you get the ranking, you get to know how many people have clicked so far, which right now it is, 9:07. We've had 3,000 people watch this video, or at least click on it at this point, which is not too bad. And then you can click and go to the comments, your latest comments, and you can start reading them, and there's a way to reply them, or if they're a nasty comment made by some Grinch, you can delete them, or if they're really nasty, made by some really hateful person, you can ban them from ever commenting on your videos again, which I do once in a while, not too often. Most of you are very complimentary, very supportive, and I appreciate that. And not just for my sake, but for the sake of helping others. And there's a lot of people get help not just from watching my videos, but from the things that are said in the comments. And they just go right down the list and read, and people tell their stories, people tell how they've been helped. So it's a good deal. Anyway, I am going to be going downstairs in a few minutes to have breakfast part B. We'll see you there. Well, I no sooner got that upstairs video done of me in my office, and Benedicta called me and said, breakfast is ready. So here it is. I'm having one more egg, a fried egg. That makes 3 for the day, but I don't count eggs really. I don't worry about them. 2 slices of bacon and a good old-fashioned chaffle. Not so old-fashioned for me. I just learned about them a few months ago. But anyway, I've come to really like them, love them, depend on them. They're great. And they substitute nicely for biscuits and gravy. So this is serving as my biscuit. And then I've got some leftover gravy from Waffle House that I'm going to put on it. I've mixed some water and some cream with it, so it's not as many carbs. This would be the most carbs in this meal, but Mike the Meter has assured me that I can handle this. Now you're saying, where is Benedicta? We want Benedicta. Well, I don't blame you. Everybody loves Benedicta, but she hadn't made herself up, so it's just too early for her to get herself ready, unless she really made a deliberate effort at that, and I didn't bother her with it. But she's right here. So Benedicta, say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. How y'all doing?
So now your day is complete. You have heard from Benedicta. Anyway, the egg, no carbs to worry about. The bacon, no carbs to worry about. The chaffle, no carbs to worry about. If you don't know how to make a chaffle, we'll put a link to the video that we showed you how to make chaffles. Like I said, this would be the most carbs, but it's not that much. So this is breakfast part B after coming off a 36-hour fast. Normally, I would never split breakfast into 2 parts like this. But coming off a 36-hour fast, I do that normally. Once in a while I don't, but usually I do. Anyway, I'm going to enjoy my meal. I've got to go out today, so I'll try to hurry up and get this meal done and then test myself before I leave. And we'll continue with my low-carb, low-glucose day.
After my breakfast, part B, it was time for me to drive down to Best Buy. I've had the same car for a long time, and for quite a few years that car stereo did not work. And finally I decided it was time to break down and buy one. And this was the day I was scheduled to go to Best Buy and have them install it for me. This meant I had to leave the house before it was time to test my post-breakfast glucose level. So I waited until I got to Best Buy, and then I tested myself then.
Well, here I am in a Best Buy parking lot, and I'm at the back of the lot because I don't want too many people to be looking at me and thinking I'm crazy, which I'm a little strange. I don't think I'm crazy. But anyway, it's been, maybe an hour and 20 minutes, hour and 15 minutes since I had that second breakfast meal, and I wanted to test myself, and I needed to get here and then do the test rather than wait at home or it would have made me late. So here we go. And you may think testing yourself, testing your blood sugar in a car, that's kind of strange, but hey, when you want good control of glucose, you're willing to do it wherever you are. So here I am in my car in a parking lot, and of course I'm doing it partly for you. I'm not at all worried about this test. A 98. So 98 didn't even hit 100. This should be the time around when I peak, and I'm not even at 100. So that doesn't surprise me. I've done enough of these tests to know that that's about what it would be like. In fact, in my mind, I was thinking, what do you think this will be? And 98 was one of the, I thought, okay, maybe 96, 98 was one of the numbers. So about what I expected. So I've had 2 breakfasts, or breakfast A and B, and I'm still under 100, doing good so far, following my 36-hour fast of the day before. And we'll report back later on. I've got to go get a new car stereo put in this old car so I can listen to my own podcast, which is a new thing I'm doing. I'll see you after a while.
While my car stereo was being installed, I had about an hour and a half to kill. I spent a little time looking around Best Buy, but I didn't want to spend a whole hour and a half there, so I went to a neighboring Target store which had a Starbucks coffee shop. That was perfect. I ordered a small sugar-free latte with heavy whipping cream and sipped my latte while I read the Bible from my phone. Finally, the installation was done, and I left Best Buy proudly playing a podcast on my new car stereo. I stopped by Walmart to do a little grocery shopping, and I was curious how I would react to that sugar-free latte, so I tested my post-latte blood sugar at the Walmart parking lot. Finally, I made my way home for a late lunch. Well, as you can see, I'm back home and I'm having my lunch. It's a little bit later than I normally would. In fact, it's quite a bit later. It's 2:45, so it just took me a while to get all my business done. I went to Walmart and so forth. So as a result, I got back late, but I didn't want to eat out. I wanted to come home and have my lunch with Benedicta. So Benedicta is here once again, just off camera, but she's not able to be on camera because she hasn't prepared herself for camera. So Benedicta, say hi once again to everybody.
Hi, everybody.
So there you have Benedicta, the Queen Bee's greeting for today. You know, I really think people that are trying to watch their glucose need to reconcile with salads if you need reconciliation. Some people don't, but if you're not that crazy about them, you better learn to love them. One way you can do that is make them interesting by putting all kinds of stuff in it. Don't just put a bunch of lettuce in there and throw some salad dressing on it and say, well, there's my salad. In this case, I took some lettuce and then I piled on some cauliflower, some green peppers, some pecans, some strawberries, and what else? Some cheese. Makes for a very interesting and tasty salad. So this is my lunch. I'll test myself about an hour and 20 minutes after I finish, and we'll see how I do. There shouldn't be a problem. This is one of those cases where I couldn't even begin to guess how many carbs this has, but whatever carbs it has, a lot of those carbs are fiber carbs. They're not going to affect blood sugar much at all. And I just know from testing my glucose frequently after salads that they don't normally give me much of a problem. We'll see. And I'll be back to let you know how my blood sugar did after eating this salad. Well, it is finally supper time, or as some of you would say, dinner time. And I normally recommend a supper, a dinner that is lighter than lunch. Now, in my case, I didn't eat a very heavy lunch anyway. I had a salad. And this is a fairly light dinner. Some of you say, man, I don't know if I could get filled up. Well, for me, I pretty much can, but I'm not trying to stuff myself at dinner. Normally, I want to have a lighter dinner. And this is almost a carnivore meal because obviously the hamburger patty is meat. And in this chaffle, the primary ingredients are cheese and an egg, so both coming from animals. The only carbs involved, really, we've got some cream cheese mixed with sour cream, but the only real carbs of any kind of size or quantity would be from the strawberries, but strawberries are very low carb as well. There's a few strawberries mixed in with this. So this should be very easy on my blood sugar, and this is it. Once I take my last bite of this, I'm done for the day until really noon of tomorrow. I will have, as I said, my bulletproof coffee. So I'm going to enjoy this. This is enough for me. It satisfies me. It should give me a decent post-meal blood sugar test. It should give me a fairly good morning fasting glucose tomorrow morning. And this is a Mike-approved meal. So how did I do on this post-fasting day in terms of my blood sugar? Actually, my numbers were quite good. I started the day with an 83. After my breakfast, parts A and B, my post-meal test, about an hour and a half after eating part B, was 98. About an hour after drinking my sugar-free heavy whipping cream latte, my blood sugar test on that Walmart parking lot revealed an 89. About an hour and 20 minutes after my late lunch, my glucose read 85, and my post-dinner glucose read 83. You know you're having a pretty good day glucose-wise when most of your tests reveal scores under 90 milligrams per deciliter, which would be around 5.0 millimoles. And to top it off, my glucose the next morning upon awakening was the same as the morning before, an 83. Now, I know what some of you are thinking and saying to yourself. You're saying, Dennis, your numbers are too good. You're not one of us. You're not diabetic. You've probably never been diabetic. I can only say that I'm convinced that I was headed for severe, raging diabetes about 21 years ago. My blood sugar could soar into the 200s after eating and then dive way too low several hours later. My metabolic system was going through a total breakdown. And if I had done nothing to change things, I would probably have blood sugars just about as bad as the worst diabetic watching this video. But I did make some changes. I read some good books, and I tested myself like crazy with a glucose meter and figured a few things out. I became a researcher on my own body. And as I researched and tested myself after eating various meals, it did not take me very long to figure out that it was sugars, carbs, and starches that raised my glucose really high, and eating more proteins, fats, and salads kept it low and kept everything humming along beautifully. Not only did I not get those surges of high blood sugar, I stopped having those terrible glucose plunges, which made me feel like I was about to pass out. And things have been getting better and better ever since. Instead of the old saying that diabetes is inevitably progressive, I find that my glucose control is better now when I'm a hair away from the age of 70 than it was when I was in my 40s. Now, you want some good news? Here's some good news. The same thing can be the case for you. In spite of what all the experts love to say, that diabetes is progressive, it's just going to get worse and worse, the truth is almost every type 2 diabetic can improve and normally improve so much that at least by the numbers, by their A1C scores and their fasting glucose numbers, they are no longer diabetic. And that is the case with me. And I'm convinced it can be the case with you.